Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Welcome to another daily live motivation stream. I'm your host, Kauffman, on a mission to solve all the writing problems of the world by putting a dragon on it. And maybe there's some. Welcome to the community. Today, we are going to be doing 3 writing sprints, and we're actually really going to be starting off our Friday strong. Have you been getting in some work this week? Yes, no, doesn't matter, because the weekend, it's time to finish strong. Today is the last day of February, which means if you hit your goals, great. If you didn't, that's all right. That means today we gotta drive ourselves into gear and really make some progress. So let's get into it. And if you want to chat, all the writers chat, you want to check in, make sure to stick around for the breaks and we'll chat, we'll catch up, we'll see whatever shenanigans are on our minds. You guys know me. I should be finishing up the dream sequence chapter ability that I'm working on today. So yeah, that's what I got going on, and I'm glad to see you guys. Calvin, welcome my friend. So excited about everything that we have going on. And ML, love having you in here, ML. For those of you who don't know, we're going to be premiering ML's book Deadcaster tomorrow for the March book of the Read Now book club. So stoked. If you want to sign up to become a member, link down in the YouTube description down below. I'll do that spiel a little later. And Janine, welcome back, my friend. I hope you've been making some progress. I know you shared that you were kind of like dealing with some nonsensical BS as of late, but it sounds like you've been on a good track since things have kind of mixed up a little bit. So welcome, and let's get into some good writing vibes. I got a couple of new-ish shorter playlists. The thing that I love about this studio is it actually lets me do like a playlist feature option, so I can actually start adding some more variety of music without having to invest time into the music creation portion of it. So I might actually be able to start mixing up some more musical styles in the weeks to come. We'll see, and we'll play around. All right, beautiful. Let's see, Janine, good question. So question, if you've had a meh at best experience with beta readers, would you recommend someone to try again or just pay for a developmental editor? That's a great question, Janine. It really comes down to where your book is at. Sometimes some authors, some writers can get away without doing the beta reader phase. Sometimes some authors cannot. Now, don't get me wrong, we do need feedback from our writers. We do need feedback from our readers, because at heart, right, we need to make sure that our readers enjoy it. When I think of a beta reader, I actually like to do my beta readers personally after the editing stage has been underway, because I want the readers to be like, okay, do I like this? Don't I like this? And then I can tweak. But that's a me thing. A lot of writers like to do their alpha and their beta readers and then go through the editing phase, and then proofreading would be the last step, and then ARC readers. But really, ARC readers isn't for feedback. ARC readers is for reviews because it's launched. So, Janine, what I would say to you is, based on how well you know your story, what do you think are the problems of the story? Based on some of the feedback you've got, I know you've gotten some mixed feedback, but based on, like, if you were to take like a pulse check of your story right now, today, could you write down like, okay, these are all the problems with it, and these are all the things that are working well? Like, make a bullet point list for yourself. This is what needs to be fixed, and this is what is going well. That will tell you what type of work may need to be done on it. In my experience, a lot of writers have a gut feeling in terms of things that work and things that don't work. What a beta reader is going to do is do an overall read through of it, and then provide you their overall feedback generated from a reading experience. A developmental edit is going to be a bit more of a deep dive. Now, since you have already gotten some feedback on it, I would probably go the developmental edit stage, unless you feel like your story has a lot of problems. if you feel like your book has a lot of problems and it's going to take a developmental editor much longer to get through, then maybe send it through another beta reader pass through. But if you're like, hey, you know what, I feel like the book is overall in a good place. There might be like a couple, there might be some character plot or world building issues here or there, then I would send it through a developmental editor because they're going to be able to help you address those problems, which, as all you guys know, right? I do editing services. I do developmental editing, line, copy, and proofreading. I also offer alpha and beta reading experiences. I'm just not really advertising that right now. And I feel pretty confident that I can actually fix almost any story. Like, I feel confident about fixing stories because it's not because I always follow the character. And like, yeah, I mean, that's probably why I do a focus in general fiction. So yeah, I hope that answered your question a little bit, Janine. Hey, what's up, LeMay? Saw you hop in. Calvin, doing good. Just got some stuff done with work. Nice, especially on a Friday. Nil, welcome, my friend. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Calvin, you're like, you've been overworked and too stressed out to write. Hopefully this will clear your head. Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. I've definitely been a little stressed lately, but anytime I hop into the stream and I kind of start getting the writing, I just like the rest of my problems just kind of fade away. And part of it is because my love for the craft of writing. Part of it is Scarecrow because I'm just loving the story so freaking much. I feel 1,000,000,000% confident this is going to be like the best. Like, this is just going to be the best story ever told. So, but I don't want to be overly confident. So I need to want to make sure I'm humble as well. And then the other portion is I get so passionate when I'm with you guys. All you guys really inspire me and really motivate me, especially in times where I'm feeling down. So I totally get that. Janine, I think part of the bad reactions is because it's not a certain type of fantasy story and they want it to be a dark romantasy instead. Yeah, I understand that. And I mean, I think, Janine, this is what you need to think about, right? So if you're getting one person who's like, it should be this way, that's one thing, because remember, all feedback is subjective. But if you're getting feedback from multiple people and they're telling you something similar, the question to then ask yourself is, how come I'm getting the same feedback from multiple people? And that is the problem to solve. That doesn't mean you need to make a dark romantasy. But you have to understand within yourself, right? Is there characters, are there elements of the world, or is there plot elements that makes it feel like it might be stronger in that genre? Yes or no? Then what do you do? Because then you can fix it. The beautiful thing is you are the author of the story. You can fix things if there's opportunities. Now, if the feedback is, oh, this should be a certain genre because this is what's trending, and if you're the author who doesn't care about chasing a trend or being mainstream, then you should ignore that advice. But if it's like, this should be a certain genre because these characters and world building elements would be stronger in that genre, those are two different paths. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, like, Janine, thinking about your problem with your story, I mean, like, I could, yeah, that's an interesting one because, like, you could go the reading experience or you could go developmental editing. I think you really just need to think about how many problems you think there are with the story. And then if you feel like there's a lot of problems, then going the developmental edit would probably be stronger. Okay. So they recognize the issues. Okay. I see what you're saying, Janine. So you're saying, what was that? So you're saying, sure, there are issues with the story, but it feels like a lot of complaints are because they want the story to be something else that it isn't. The issues do exist. Okay. So there are issues, but I think the way they want it fixed are a total mismatch. There you go. Right. And then the great thing is you get to decide how you want those issues to be fixed. Right. And something that I always like to clarify with people, and sometimes this can be a miss for editors, is clarifying what is the author's goal and intention. because the author's goal is very, 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 it's like so important in terms of story development. So if there's issues, then it's trying to understand, like, okay, how do we solve these issues in a way that get the author closer to the goal of the story that they want to tell based on what we have so far? Oof. Plus, a lot of beta readers tended to ghost me, take 6 to 12 months to get back to me. Well, okay, that's a problem. Janine, that's a problem. I was like, I'm so sorry you've dealt with that. I was like, man, we need a, no wonder the community keeps has mentioned that they want like a beta reader app of some type. I like all of my clients. I do contracts with all my clients that list very clear timelines. Like I'm like, no, because if I'm an author and I send my stuff off to a reader or off to an editor, I want to at least have a general idea of how long it should take. Getting something and being like, okay, well, it might be done at some point. I'm like, no, I'm on a timeline and I want to get my stuff out on a time that's reasonable. Yeah, I would generally try to commit people to at least some time a timeline, even if that has to be adjusted slightly. But I mean, a month to read a book seems like that should be like a good average based on availability and scheduling. So, yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, Janine. Sounds like you've just had some really bad reader experiences. Because I know we've had some readers here in the community, and we've definitely had some better experiences with some other writers here. Awesome. And Janine, of course, I'm so happy to help you. If you want, I can always help you out with a beta read if that's something you'd prefer. I feel like the developmental edit is probably going to help you out a little bit more, but like it's a tough one because you've had some bad experiences and that just sucks. Anytime anybody has a bad experience, especially if it's multiple bad experiences, then you just feel put off by the entire process. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. Now, the challenge is if we're getting readers for free, this is where the challenge becomes, right? So if we're getting something for free for somebody and if we're not paying them, then that becomes a little bit more problematic because then they don't feel incentivized. However, this is why I always recommend to writers, if you need like a beta read, go find another writer who also needs a beta read of their story. Then that's equal value. And once again, payment doesn't always have to be money. For generally professional services, they do. But if you're like trying to do stuff on a budget, I'm not saying this for you, Janine, but I'm just saying in general, if you're trying to do stuff on a budget, then you can find other writers and trade stories. And I know in the Discord, we actually have, Janine, I think you're in the Discord, right? To get through a chapter, maybe I remote. Yeah, Janine, also like if you do decide to go like a beta reader, you could also post in the Discord as well, because we do have a lot of readers. We do have a lot of writers who are willing to trade in the community. That would be another recommendation too. Yeah, Janine, totally. You should do the Discord. Let me go find the link real fast. Let me go find the link, and then we're gonna hop into writing sprints. All right, here you go, Janine. So I just dropped that. So that's the right now Discord link, or right now Discord invite. There you go. So I just dropped that, Janine. You should join the Discord. And we actually have a couple areas in the Discord where you can post where you're looking for help. You can connect with other writers in the community. And even if you're like, hey, I don't know if I should do a beta read, why don't you trade like a couple chapters? Be like, hey, I don't know if I should be a beta read. I'd be willing to trade like the first like X amount of chapters. And then you read somebody else's chapters, and that could give you a good incentive based on like their feedback, like, okay. And then if you share like this is what happened and you're clear on your goal, then you might be able to get some more intentional feedback if you're still kind of stuck there and not sure to go a full beta reader experience or not. Yeah, and I think, Janine, I think the solution there is just clarifying expectations. It's really just clarifying expectations. That's really what it comes down to, right? It's I expect this is how long it's going to take me to do it. This is when we should meet to talk about it. I expect you to read it within this timeline, which of course has to be reasonable. Expect you to read it within this timeline, so that way we can both trade in a way that sounds mutually beneficial. So, but good luck. I hope you're able to solve it though, Janine, because it sounds like you have a cool story on your hands. Yeah, Neil has another great recommendation as well. Maybe a writing partner, someone else that is working on their novel, so you're on the same page for helping feedback timeline. A lot of writers do that. Pairing up with another writer is an excellent strategy. Completely agreed. No, that's a great idea. And you actually might be able to find a writing partner in the Discord, because we have writers of all genres. So you actually might be able to find someone if that's something that interests you. That's good. That's actually really good, Janine. That's awesome. Well, Junie, what I'll end off with this is I'm going to put it out there that you've had some bad experiences before, but those experiences have helped you learn. Like you said, your goals and intentions have become much clearer. And now that that's become clear, what you're going to start looking for and attracting next into your sphere as an author is going to be so much more positive and beneficial that you wouldn't have realized if you didn't have those negative experiences. We wish we didn't have negative experiences, but when we do, how do we learn from them? And that's really the best. It's like the best we can hope for, right? Life is learning and change. So, but yeah, good luck. Good luck, Janine. Hope you're able to figure it out. And definitely, if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. Absolutely. Winky face. Love it. Okay, friends, let's do it. Let's get into writing sprint number 1. 1 of 3. So we're going to do 25 minutes. You guys can see that I already have my stuff here. I'll check in with you guys and see how we're doing after. Excellent. And perfect. Let's get right into it. So whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us, because it's time to write now. All right, writing sprint done. Oof. I was like, actually, let's go to the screen. So I feel like I was all right that time. I was like, I was getting a little distracted with admin stuff. But I was starting to kind of get into the flow of it. And I mean, like, that totally happens sometimes. I wanted to get into the flow of it. But actually, the thing I did get through was I reviewed the Crow POV. So for those of you who don't know, I am currently probably about 36 to 37% of the way through the novel. And this is the first time I'm introducing the POV of the two side characters outside of the Scarecrow. This is the first time I'm introducing any other type of POV, and they are very brief. I think right now they're both only about 2 pages, give or take, where we have both the Mr. Crow POV and then the Pebble POV. And granted, it's their POV that's being introduced while they are trapped in this dream sequence, this dream chapter, which is interesting. And I went back through the Crow POV and I actually really like how it came out. There's almost this like poetic undertone to Crow's insanity. And there's something I really like about that because all that we've seen of Crow throughout the novel is that he's very eccentric, he sprouts, he says random things, and he basically eats everything. There's kind of like seems almost like it's like this dark comedic undertone to him at times. And this is the first time that we peel back the layer a little bit and get to see a deeper side of Crow that we previously haven't seen. And it comes across in almost this poetic undertone that I'm actually kind of liking. Because he has essentially lost his sanity over the longest period of time. So I found that very, very intriguing. And then let's see what else. Pebble. I'm revising Pebble's section. I think I'm almost done with her section. I think I have to wrap up the end of it. And the thing that I'm really trying to do, and I would love to hear from you guys, right? Actually, this is probably a good YouTube Q&A to drop in. So for those of you guys who write multiple character POVs in your story, how do you go about differentiating the tone of different characters? What are things that you do to make each of your different character POVs feel different? I would love to hear. I was like, let me throw this as a Q&A. How do you make your different character POVs feel different tonally? I'm just kind of curious if people have strategies when you're writing in other characters. Now, obviously, if you're writing from your main character or you're writing an omniscient, you're kind of exploring all of the characters in a sense in the scene. But if the POV is a complete different character and it's a completely like different narrative style, I'm just curious if there's strategies that have worked for you. When I think about it myself and I think about a character POV, Scarecrow has a very at times childlike, almost like naive. Scarecrow has a very naive POV in general. He's exploring the world. He generally doesn't understand what's happening. He's he tries to help people and he's generally punished. Well, not people, but he tries to help characters and he's generally punished for it 9 times out of 10. He wants to understand himself, but he's lost. Mr. Crow's POV is Crow is very, very like Crow's almost basically lost his mind. And I realized in writing his POV, it has this poetic undertone, which I actually kind of like, which I think I'm going to play into even more because we have a couple more POV chapters. I want to say Crow has 2 more POV chapters, and then Pebble has 3 throughout the rest of the novel. I think Crow has 2 and Pebble has 3, I believe. Pebble might have 4. So I want when the reader reads them, I want the reader to feel like they're in their headspace. And I think Crow, I'm using a poetic language, and I'm using shorter word choice and more disruptive thoughts. So it feels, they're like, okay, this is kind of like a different character. So it feels like it from the beginning. Whereas Pebble, I've been trying to think through, like, how do I make Pebble feel different? I mean, outside of her dialogue, I think I'm starting to get a hang of how her dialogue feels different. But tonally, I think I think that's what I'm doing. So like I think narratively the sentence structure for Pebble is a little bit more similar to Scarecrow because she's obviously a little bit more sane. I think I'm really trying to play into the dialogue for Pebble and really making her dialogue profound and distinct because she's just a very like aggressive, like talkative character. And I think that's what plays into her character style. Interesting. Hey, what's up, ML? And Tiara, welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's see, Tiara, like I struggled so much when working on my urban fantasy multi POV series. Yeah, and especially when we're like trying to balance different characters, I think that's always an interesting thing to think about. Lynn, you're like, I don't usually do multi POV, but my next new series will be duo POV, and I'm attempting to figure this out. Yeah, and I mean, so that's actually really cool, and it sounds like you're about to embark upon this exact challenge. And like I think about it myself from a reader's perspective, what are things that we can do to make a character POV feel different, right? The easiest one is dialogue, right? If characters should speak differently. Now that's not necessarily a thing that changes with POV. Like that should just be a thing regardless with character development. But in character POV, what we layer onto the dialogue is the interiority. And how do we explore interiority? We're exploring it through sentence structure, syntax, and style. So then if I want the reader to feel like it's a different experience, how am I framing my sentences and my word choice in a way that feels like it's unique to the character? But it has to be obvious enough to the reader so the reader is able to pick up on it, right? They can't just be slight differences, which I mean, I'm sure sometimes they can, but it has to be enough that the reader's like, okay, if I were to close my eyes and read this page, this is this character. I can tell this is this character because of ABCD, whatever the style is. So, and I feel like it's something that could be very easily mixed up because you're really relying on the interiority aspect of it to set them apart. Let's see, Natalie. My book has been difficult because some of the POV are from the POV of a camera. The tricky part is showing everything the camera sees while not directly telling the viewer how to feel. Yeah, that's a really interesting one. That's really interesting, Natalie, because so essentially it's like some type of like found footage, or it's something where obviously if you're seeing through a screen, you can't portray that same interiority per se. It's almost more like a screenplay or script where it's very like surface level, like this is what we're seeing and this is how the characters are coming across. That's interesting. That must be a challenge. Yeah, that must be a challenge. Calvin, you're like, my characters are always doing different things, so the scenes will always be different. Plus, they have different challenges, right? And then in books where there's a lot of action, it makes it a little easier. Here's why. When you have characters where, like, let's say they're in like a war and there's like things that are constantly at them, you're able to rely more heavily on the world building and the plot to make the characters feel different because those characters are being challenged with extremely different obstacles. It's harder when you're doing character driven stories because this is the Last Scarecrow. I mean, they deal with a lot, but at heart, the reading experience is character driven because there is a lot of interiority and them trying to understand themselves and understand what is going on with the world. Even though the world is crazy and there's definitely a lot. I want the reader to feel like they're going on a character development, a character first journey with the characters. So that way the reader can experience and relate with the characters as they're having highs, lows, middle points throughout the entire course of the story, at least based on what I'm revealing and what the character is experiencing. So, Janine, you tried a story with an unnamed protagonist. Yeah, and that's interesting because then it almost makes it like they could be an unreliable narrator. That's interesting. So very, very cool. Thank you all for sharing. I'm so intrigued by this. I'm gonna go hop into Pebble, and since I didn't get as much work that time, let's make this next sprint. What time are we at? So we're at okay. Pew, pew. I'm like trying to decide how long we should do the next sprint. I'm kind of going back and forth. All right, let's go 35 minutes. Yeah, okay. So I'll do 35 minutes for this next sprint, and we'll see because I kind of have to be aware of the time. So we'll do 35 minutes for the next sprint. But if you're enjoying the stream, follow and subscribe. I'm here every day with the Right Now community. 425 consecutive streams and counting. If you're looking for daily writing motivation, we got it all. We got writing sprints, author interviews, critique streams, we got a book club, we got a fiction contest coming up, and much, much more. So if you're really looking for that accountability, you know we're going to be here every day. So come join us and tap that follow and subscribe button because you'll be alerted when we go live. All right, my friends. So with that, let's hop back into it. So we are going to go into writing sprint number 2, and we're going to do 35 minutes for this next one. All right, perfect. And I'm going to continue on Pebble. So right now I'm at the beginning of Pebble's dream sequence. And yeah, I think I'm really focusing on her dialogue. I think dialogue is really how I'm trying to set hers apart. So we'll see how it comes out. Okay, but I feel pretty good. Hey, what's up, Mary? Welcome, my friend. So let's do it. We're going to do 35 minutes on the clock, whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing. That's all part of the process because it's time to write now. Writing sprint over. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let's take a break. Since the last time was shorter, we'll take a longer break this time. And let's do it. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. What does that? But as you guys know, I'm in the middle of this dream sequence with these characters, and I finished the Pebble, the Pixie dream sequence. So I felt pretty good about that. Finished the so I finished the Crow's dream sequence, I finished the Pebble dream sequence, and now we're going back to Scarecrow because Scarecrow is going to disrupt the dream unintentionally so that way they can get themselves out of this obstacle. So, wow, I'm really happy with how this chapter is coming out. I am like so happy. This chapter is coming out way better than I anticipated. I like that this is probably the most of all the chapters so far in the book. And this is what chapter 20, I think. I think this is the most varied in style of chapters, which is a nice transition because the next major arc is there's a lot that's going to happen that will take the reader to the midpoint. So I'm very, very happy. How'd that writing sprint treat you though? Were you able to get some progress in that time? I know I saw a couple of you hop in the middle, saw a bunch of our Twitch friends hopping in during the sprint. Morgana, thank you for bringing over the raid. Always a fun experience. My friends, Adrian, good to see you in here, my dude. Hope the writing is treating you well. Jim, awesome to see you. Emma, welcome back. For those of you guys who missed out on the Create Right Now podcast, I had Emma on here a couple of weeks ago. Anybody who needs help with understanding social media, the podcast episode was phenomenal. Make sure you check it out on the Create Right Now podcast on the Right Now YouTube channel. It's definitely a great episode, by the way. Emma, you're finishing House of the Dragons. I'm enjoying the show. It's definitely different than Game of Thrones, but I definitely still enjoying it. Let's see. How many words were all you guys able to get? Hopefully we're like making some good progress. Yay, Morgana, you're like 732 words. Nice, my friend. Sounds like you're making some good progress today. Adrian, you're like, I had a real puzzle piece moment this morning while writing, figured out how to make an entire storyline work. And the entire book is better for it. I'm really excited about that. That is such a great feeling. That is such a great feeling, my friend, especially when we're able to solve a problem that we like didn't know how to solve before. That's actually really cool. So very exciting. And I think when we solved it, like we had those aha moments because we're thinking through like, okay, we have to solve that story in this shape, in this way, or this way. And then it just comes together and it just made better, which I love so much. So very excited. I'm loving everything that I'm doing. I feel very proud of where my story is going. And I can tell you guys are having a lot of progress on your storytelling as well, which is excellent. Now, let's see. During the sprint, I said over on Twitch, I would I would read the Scarecrow blurb for anybody who wanted to hear the newest revised version. I had it on, I was over on Rachel's stream a couple weeks back and we retweaked the blurb for the Last Scarecrow. I'm actually very happy with where it's at right now. I actually feel really confident that the blurb is getting pretty close to a finalized version. Let's see. And you guys will have to tell me if you think it sounds good now with where it's at. So let me pull up the Last Scarecrow blurb. And I think it's like I want to say, okay. So I think this is all right. Okay, perfect. So like I know where I'm at. All right, let me pull up the other screen so you guys can see what I'm reading. So this is the book blurb. This is a more finalized version of the book blurb that some of you might have seen on stream if you guys showed up a few weeks ago when I had Rachel or when I was on Rachel's stream. And let's see, I'll throw up this screen will probably be the best one. No, this one. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll do this one. JK. Okay. So what we'll do, perfect. So this is the Last Scarecrow blurb here. You guys can just let me know what you think. This is the 6th version. So The Last Scarecrow, a Dawn of Magic series, part 1. What happens when you forget that you're the last of your kind? Scarecrow, with fleeting memories of his creators, awakens to a world withering under the nothingness. Nature's elemental magics rage unchecked, animals lose their minds, and even the strongest creatures fade from the threat of the first demon. Haunted by loss but driven by hope, Scarecrow sets out to find the truth, joined by unlikely allies, an eccentric, sharp-tongued crow lost without his younglings, a flightless trickster of a pixie lost without her kind, and a lovelorn grizzly bear lost without a soulmate. Together, they traverse the lands of the last, where each shadow hides a predator, every sunrise beckons the moon, and hope lies like an unnerving melody of entrapment. Can Scarecrow and his wayward companions overcome the challenges of a crumbling world and unravel their truths before they succumb to nothingness? Or will their shadow nemesis plunge them into eternal suffering, forcing them to forget who they are and why they began their journeys in the first place? A Dawn of Magic series is a dark fantasy action adventure story that explores freedom, loss, and the consequences of magic being unleashed into the universe. Step into a spellbinding tale of mystery, magic, melody, memory, and mayhem. Ooh, oh man, it gives me chills. I was like, ooh, that gives me chills. I feel great about where the blurb is heading. I love it. Man, and I think it's interesting, especially when we're focusing on developing blurbs, right? We know it's so important. If there's not a good cover, people don't. Without a good cover design, people won't even check out the book. If there's not a good blurb, then people won't decide to read on and try out the story. So I'm pretty happy with how that blurb is phrased, how it's framed. What do you guys think? Do you think it feels engaging or enticing enough with the current iteration of where it's at right now? So I feel pretty good about that. Let's see, Calvin, you're like, I'm almost at 1,000 words and I'm almost done with the chapter. Ooh, that's a great place to be in, my friend. That is an absolutely phenomenal place to be in. Very, very much so. Glad you're making some solid progress on your end. Let's see, Morgan, you're like, I've just been writing the different part titles for the current WIP. The different part titles. Okay, so you're sounds like you're setting up all the different like chapter titles or section or scenes, so to speak. That's a good place to be in. Absolutely a great place to be in for sure. So yeah, I feel pretty good. Penumbra, you're like, I love that she curses with spark you. You read that you read that part when when in this last section I was reading, right? Yeah, so I've really been trying to think through with Pebble, because I want Pebble to be a curse, like a character who curses a lot, but I want the curse words in this world to be unique to this world. And I decided that Pebble's curse words is predominantly going to be tied into the essences, which there's 7 essences in the world, and each essence is kind of like its own magical element, its own magical being, which is based off elemental magic to a certain extent. It's kind of based off like a cross between elemental and light and dark magic. So yeah, and I've been playing around because each of the essences kind of have like a folklore name throughout the world, and the essence of lightning is referred to as the spark, and the essence of fire is referred to as the burn. So like she uses those two interchangeably. The names for the other essences that I've used don't work as well for a curse type thing. So I kind of have to think through what's actually going to be effective. And I mean, the system of essences, the magic system, isn't really fully explored in depth in book 1. It's explored throughout the series, but book 1, it's just not explored. It's not relevant to Scarecrow's original journey. So, Mary, like, blurb sounds pretty good, but personal preference, I still don't like questions. I know. I remember Mary, you said that originally. Remember you don't. Yeah, I mean, I think when with blurbs, I think I like that question at the end. I feel like it like leaves it open to the reader to guess, but I think that's probably just subjective. Remember, like I love it when fantasy worlds have their own slang and curses. Yeah. And I mean, Petal's the only character who really curses frequently, but it's just more in your face because she's in a good majority of the novel. Oh, that's cool, Morgana. Like, I have my novel broken into 5 parts, each big chunk holding 8 to 10 chapters. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I want to say Scarecrow is broken up into 4 parts, and I'm naming each part a book. So it's like book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. Yeah, I'm kind of like reversing it actually. So the title of the title of the novel is called The Last Scarecrow, a Dawn of Magic series, part 1. Yeah, and I think that's how I'm framing the terminology of it. So I mean, we'll see if it's effective, and we'll see how it works out. But I think I'm pretty happy with that. So excellent. On that note, time is up for our break. So before we hop into our next break, just want to do a quick shout out to the Read Now Book Club. We are officially launching the Read Now Book Club tomorrow, which is going to be so cool. The Read Now Book Club is a book club for writers. It is a reading book club for writers, and I am so stoked about it. Let me pull up the thing. Here we go. So as you guys can see, right? So here's the thumbnail that we have for it for the Read Now Book Club. Very excited about it. We launch tomorrow. It's going to be such a cool experience. The book club's going to be broken up into 2 sections. In the middle of the month, we're going to host an author interview with the author. And then at the end of the month, myself and the other co-hosts will all come together and discuss the book in depth. So, and then the book we are doing for the first month is Dead Caster by M.L. Claxon. So, this is a paranormal fantasy. It's going to be a really cool. I was like, oh, there we go. Yeah, so it's a paranormal fantasy. It's going to be a great first read for the month of March. It's for those of you who want to pick up a copy on day 1 and join us tomorrow. It's available on Amazon. It's $2.99. Or if you're enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, it's free. And then we're also going to make it free for Read Now Book Club members on March 8th through 10th. So there's going to be a 3-day period for anybody who wants to pick up a copy of it for free, who might not be in a place to be able to like purchase books or spend money right now. So yeah, if you want to become a Read Now Book Club member, it's linked down in the YouTube description down below. And then let's see. I will also drop the link here for anybody else who wants to become a member. Let's see. I gotta go grab the link. So the Read Now Book Club starting officially tomorrow. Officially tomorrow. So I'll drop that down in the chat for anyone who wants to become a Read Now Book Club member. There you go. And that's the link. Free to join. Doesn't cost anything. All you have to do is just fill out a few questions over on the Read Now Book Club channel. So very cool. And awesome. I wanted to do that. Once again, it's called Dead Caster by M.L. Claxon. All right, beautiful, my friends. So, wanted to make sure to announce that since day 1 is tomorrow. And with that, let's hop into writing sprint number 3. So, where I'm at on time, it is, well, it's the 45 mark. Okay. Okay. All right, let's I really want to get through this chapter. So, all right, I'm just going to suck it up. 45 minutes. Let's do it. So I'm going to do 45 minutes for this third sprint. This will be our longest sprint of the day because Kauffman, I'm going to stay proactive and finish this chapter. If I wrap up a little sooner, like we'll see, but I need to finish this chapter today. So I'm going to do 45 minutes on the clock for sprint number 3. Whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us. Because it's time to write now. All right. Writing sprint done. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How did that writing sprint treat you? I wasn't able to quite finish the chapter, but I got really close. I finished up the last dream sequence, which is great. Now I just need to finish, not rewrite. I actually think the end of the chapter is going to be pretty fine. I think I just need to finish revising the last section of the chapter, and then I need to tie in the gore reference at the end. So, but overall, I think I'm actually pretty happy with how the chapter turned out. I added a little bit more emotional depth with a Scarecrow and Pebble development than I'd intended to, but I think overall I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. So, yeah, hopefully you guys were able to get some progress as well. Let's see. I know I saw a couple more friends hop in during the stream, but we were all able to hopefully get some writing done in for our day. Let's see. And yeah, nice, Morgana. Like, you finished your 2K for today. Woo! Progress. That is excellent progress, my friend. I was like, how much did I get through? I feel like I did a full revision. I feel pretty good about this chapter. Yeah, I think I went through about 15,000. Not 15,000, 1,500 words. Yeah, I did about 1,500 words. So, I mean, I think I feel overall good. I wish I had gone a little bit more. I wanted to finish it up, but we're kind of on time too. So it's all good. I'll finish it tomorrow. Because then the next chapter is the first introduction with Gore, the grizzly bear. So then I get to focus on our new friend, who I need to figure out how I want to make him a little bit more distinct in this rewrite. So, hey, what's up, Gwenna? Like, dinner made and eaten and 176 words written. Nice. Able to get some progress over here, my friend. Absolutely. I always love hosting these streams, as you guys know. Make sure to follow and subscribe if you didn't already. I'll be here every day. And tomorrow, as we look on creative writing on the morrow, I'll be back tomorrow with another daily writing sprint stream at, let's see, our Saturday time is 1 p.m. Pacific, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Eastern. So I'll be back tomorrow, 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern, to get in some more writing. We're keeping our Saturday stream super casual and doing a writing sprint stream. And then Sunday, we'll be back with the Create Right Now podcast, as I'm going to be interviewing author Anya Greenay, and we're going to be talking about how do you write a book while having a day job. So it's going to be an excellent conversation, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Make sure that if you enjoyed the stream, tap that like button on the way out. Help us show the algorithms that writing streams are cool. All right, my friends, it's been great. Thank you for joining me today. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kauffman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers.
Right now.
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 Because it's time to write